Welcome, welcome, welcome to ELIAN'S Joy today. I am your host, Elian, and I am very, very happy to see you here. Welcome, welcome to the show. Very excited on this day. It's a beautiful spring day here in my neck of the woods, as we say in Texas. And I'm glad that you joined me today for somewhat of a mindset subject. We're going to talk about regrets today. Mindset, will you have regrets? And that's the topic of today. And I love to talk about this topic, although it doesn't really come from when I found it from a very happy um, corner, I would say, but it has taught me so much, and I use it so much with my clients and patients in my work. I'm a life coach, I'm a wellness coach, and I practice here in my own practice and work a few days a week at a addiction facility for people that are recovering from alcohol, drugs, or opioids. And I work through pain management physically as well as emotionally and mindset, just kind of like thinking about anxiety intervention and techniques to feel better overall, right? To come to that, like I always say, well care, wellness, and healthcare in an alternative way through your body and through a good mindset. So we're trying to come to that mindset of joy and happiness. What is that? That's what we're always talking about. And in my shows, I use sometimes the topic mindset, sometimes we talk about the spiritual aspects of it, and sometimes we're just really going into this body work, right? And doing all kind of things that are good for our body and good for pain and helping us through the day into this mindfulness mindset. We have to stay in the now sometimes, not to get carried away by either the past or carried away by the future and the things that we would love to have control over, which is not always the case. We cannot always control the future. We can just stand in the now and kind of plan a few things out. And even if we plan a few things out, we want to plan towards the fact that we do not regret things and that we do not have to look back. There's many, many enough regrets in my past, and they go from really small to I wish I would have been at that football game, right, where the kids were playing. I wish I could have made the kids' games or the kids' sports event. I wish I could have made that. So that's a small regret that had much to do, with your own choice in the moment. And then there's also many, many things that we can control, and we still will have a form of regret. So we will say, for instance, well, the party was canceled, the wedding was canceled. I regret that the wedding was canceled because I was looking forward to be there for my best friends that got married or that will get married. They didn't get married yet because the wedding was canceled. Anyway, you see what there's really big things, and then there's really 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 big things in life. Looking back, in a sense of, well, I wish that I would have known. Right? I wish that I would have known these things about myself and about life, because if I would have known, then I wouldn't have to regret my decision that I made then. Maybe I regret now, not knowing where I was at that time in place and in the past. I wasn't really so well aware of why I did things. And so I regret, for instance, grieving a relationship for a really long time, while now I know that that was certainly for a reason, that relationship had to end. Because right now I'm thinking, I picked that relationship for the wrong reason. I stepped in that relationship for the wrong reason. Regret. But I didn't really know where my choices were coming from. I didn't recognize it at that time. And I didn't really see my why. Why would I jump into that relationship? Obviously, now I know that was for the wrong reason. So at that point, I didn't know that. But now, you can just kind of regret that. Know that you could have listened to the wise gears around you and the wise heads around you. But there was also a time in my life that you didn't want to listen to the wisdom of the elderly, right? Sometimes we just go like, ah, yeah, later, because you know everything better and you think you got the world by the tail and you think you got all the answers and you think that what you're doing is good for you. Why was it not good in my case, for instance, and why can I say, well, I kind of regret, that time that I wasted on thinking about him, her, the things that you were, you were into, and now you kind of like, what a waste of time. It's okay because it still kind of made you who you are today. And regrets are definitely a very good way to think carefully about the things that we do not want anymore. But it definitely takes us to a place that we kind of can eliminate what we don't want. And that's a really, really important. That's your first step to just kind of know what you don't want. If there's a lot of things and you can say, well, I just don't want this, don't want that. And I know I've been there, I did regret that. It was not a good choice. All internal work, you got to do the work for it and come to that point that you can see that. But when you can see that, you find some clarity about the things that you do not want, and then you can truly kind of move forward with the things that you would like to see and that you can be in control of in your life. So, one of those things with regret is that sometimes it sounds a little bit like grief and like sorrow, but that's not really it. If you look at the definition of regret, it's kind of sadness and disappointment. It doesn't go so deep that it is a distress of mind, like grief or sorrow, right? Because it goes a little bit deeper. So regret can be kind of an external thing implemented by things around you that were happening. And regret can also just kind of be the fact that you were just not really doing the things that you should have done in that moment. But it is never a waste of time. I used to think so many times that the choices I had made or the things that I had done were just a waste of time. And actually, now I can honestly say they told me so. I just didn't listen and I had to learn. And now I know the things that I know because I had learned and I did something with it. I internalized it. I made it mine, my mistakes. And now I just truly, truly, truly know what I do want. And that is the amazing thing about that. So I like that so much that you can eliminate the things that you don't want. And then from there on, we can kind of plan the things, find goals, and that's what a life coach does, right? It kind of helps you. If you say, "Well, I don't know my purpose," well, I'll help you with your purpose. Let's go get a little start. And if you know your purpose, but you don't really know how to move forward with it, or to really go into that mindset of goal setting, or to find the way, to make little progress and kind of see the accomplishments there, that's what we do together. So everybody needs a buddy. Everybody needs a coach. I always say, everybody needs a coach. Right? We need to come to that place where we're a little vulnerable. And then from there on, we can kind of work forwards. And that's what I help you with. And that's what I would love to do. And I'm glad that I see some things now more clear with clarity. And I just wrote a book about it. Like I wish I would have known, but I'm glad I didn't. That's the whole story of my book. So the things that I really got stuck on was the things that I would regret, and even worse, the things that I would have shame about, right? Shame inwards, shame about the things that I did or the things that I didn't do, and feeling guilty maybe towards others, right? External, feeling guilty because it looked ridiculous, it was not good, it was not good for both parties. And most of the time, of course, it has to do with friendships and with people and with relationships with others, you know. And I regret also, for instance, that let's say an example externally that I didn't have more time with my parents and that my dad didn't have that I didn't have that connection with that and vice versa, so that we could really, really connect and that I could really get to know him. I regret that. But I cannot sit on it and I cannot dwell on it and I cannot just go drive myself crazy about it because it's an external thing. And I can just do my best to visualize and say, what would you have said? Right? And look up and kind of be happy and he's in a good place and say, well, maybe I can get something from that, just thinking and visualizing. Is it the right thing to do? Do I do the right thing? I love always, um, that's what they say the first thing in the Rotary Club, right? I love that. Is it the right thing to do? And I love that. So I just kind of think forwards towards that, and then we'll think about the things that, is it the right thing to do, or am I gonna regret it? So catch yourself in that moment of trying to find out why we are making choices, why we are making decisions, and are we making them from the right the right place. This week I was talking to a patient and I said, If you are just taking a deep breath and then respond to the situation, not just react and overly like go crazy and fight all together and get into this mess, but just kind of remove yourself from the situation and take a deep breath or walk it off or just get outside for a little bit and right, smell the roses and then come back in and then say something from a kind place first, even if you have to say something that is not nice, because then we don't regret that we just blew up, right? We don't have to regret that we just blew up. We just say something from a very kind heart. So you go outside, you remove yourself from the situation, you take a deep breath if possible, you do a little, right, kind of in the moment mindfulness work, and then you kind of look at the meta things, right, from loving kindness. You kind of look at the person and say, well, maybe I have sympathy or empathy because I understand where they were, where he is, or where she is. I might not like it, but I understand where this person is. I'm gonna get a little bit of a feeling of understanding there. So now I'm gonna respond and I'm gonna honestly say what I want to say. I'm not going to keep it in because that's not healthy. I'm going to work this out between us, but I'm going to start with, hey, I'm sorry, or hey, I like you, or hey, I love you. And but, yeah, I love you, but I want just make sure that this is just so not healthy for me. So how can we work together on this? Right? Kind of find a way to introduce the conflict in a really come back into the conflict in a really nice way with an open heart and then say something nice. And then, right? And then you just kind of work it out in a really kind way with a better heart in it. So, why do I come to this regret? Years ago, and this is so important. I love to talk about. Years ago, I came upon a great book. 2012, Bronnie Ware, Ware, wrote a book, and it was called The Five Regrets of the Dying. And it was a huge book for me. She started a blog in 2009, and she was really a palliative caregiver, somebody who works with people to optimize the last years of their life and to just kind of like mitigate suffering, right? And to work with people that are in a sick place, maybe a serious place, complex place of illness. And she worked for years as a caregiver with these people. And at some point, she realized that everybody just kind of said the same thing when it came to regrets. And ultimately, she started a blog about that. And what that blog did, that went all over the world in 2009, it went viral. A lot of people just reacting to it and say, well, this is kind of the common denominator. This is happening to a lot of people. And I'm going to run these by you because she wrote down the five major things that she heard over and over again. And so, if people are in that place or in that time of their life and not necessarily old, but maybe in illness, in sickness, they would say, in the first place, they would say, I wish I had the courage to live my life to the fullest and not in expectation of others. I wish I would have lived my life to the fullest and really true to myself and not just in an expectation frame of others. And what did that do for me? Bing! Just right away, I thought, oh my, this is so me. I'm in such a, well, I was in a bad place, but when I started reading that, I knew that that had happened to me so many times. I started to, you start early and it's okay to please your parents and live into according to their expectations, right? You want to just kind of get big and get grown up and do the best for your parents. And it's kind of like a little expectation frame. I talk about this so much. Go back and you see that as a line through all my shows. Right. But then we do the things that we do when we're in our 20s, and we get married or we have babies and we want a house, we want it all to be perfect. And why? Because we put high expectations on ourselves that we do all of that and have all that, and other people all kind of expect that too, right? You want you to be happy with a perfect family and a perfect picture with a perfect picture frame, with the kids in the house and the yard and the partner, right? And sometimes we don't know that. So that's why I'm saying forgive yourself if you don't know that at that point. If you're in your 20s and you're in your 30s, you're just running the rat race. You're just running the rat race with everybody else, right? So you're just living in that framework of expectation. And you don't really have to find out, don't really have the time at that point, let alone babies, right? Don't have time for anything. So you're just running around and you don't have time. What it is to live a life true to yourself. That's a beautiful thing of getting our age to be a mature adult, right? To be a little bit older and to kind of, I see it now. So we live in that framework of expectation and we just kind of like really have a hard time to really figure out what it is that drives us, that opens our hearts, that makes us super, super, super happy. So that was the number one thing that people said. I wish I would have lived a life true to myself and not according to expectations of others, right? And that is a really big thing. So if you come to that point in your life that you can actually let go a little bit of these expectations and you just don't want to run that rat race anymore, then you slowly come into that transformation of finding out who am I and where am I? And I'll help you with that because I just did it. It's not a I know. And I definitely don't know it all from the books. I just did the work. It's just work. You just kind of have to dig a little deeper to find out what we don't want, right? That's what those regrets were for. And then you kind of find out what you do want. So that's a great way of digging through this material. And we'll go over time more into this. And so the number two thing that Bronnie wrote down in her book was I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard. And that is very understandable, definitely. And maybe even for a generation that she worked with people that would just throw themselves in a career because that was the thing to do. Maybe in the days for men, that was the way in the old days to take care of your family and just went to work. And at home, women just took care of the kids and the household and worked hard, maybe on the land and worked hard and did everything else. I wish that I wouldn't have worked so hard. That kind of comes back to what I just talked about a couple of weeks ago, that wheel of life, right? We got to balance career, family, relationships, self care, vacations, hobbies, right? Well care, our bodies, our health, right? We got to take care of all that, what we eat, nutrition, good nutrition, and of course we have to kind of balance the finances and career because you cannot just say, oh, I'm taking 3 days off because it's good for me if you can't afford it. So we have to come to a balanced place of all these aspects. I just talked about that a few weeks ago. To kind of get that all balanced out is not an easy thing to do. Not an easy. So we just go on that wheel of life and we just go blah, 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 and just we miss something. We miss something. So I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard might also just relate to you. And right now I am working really hard. I got way too much on my plate. That I'll share with you. But the good thing is that right now I know it's temporary. And I take care of my self-care because I'll share with you right now and don't Make me forget at the end of the show, I'll share it again. Next week, this little one will be out. I'll be on vacay and just really enjoying a weekend with my family. So I have Ajanta Nikam next week coming to be a host for me, my guest host, and I am so excited because she has a wealth of information to share with you, and her business is life coach, grand life mastery. She's a life coach, and she will share so much with you about achieving success and building confidence and how to be the most amazing mom without all these expectations, how to be a great mom in raising your kids and still at the same time be a grand life master. So Ajanta will share that with you next week. But regardless, we are at number two, so I have to go back to my points. We're at number two. I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard. This one, taking a week off. Anyway, number three that Bronnie came up with, Bronnie Ware in her book, The Five Regrets. Number three is I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Now, that is not easy for everybody just to do because, again, let me give you an example from my own past. I didn't think that I should show that kind of weakness. And I thought it was a sign of weakness. I thought if I show my feelings, then I cannot be the tough chick that I want to be, or that I expect myself to be, or that everybody thinks I am. At some point in my life, I was a pretty tough chick. I was just dealing with it. And now I look back and I'm thinking, you know what? If you are always the really tough chick, what happens as well? And you know the story of Boy Cried Wolf. What happened is also that people are always thinking, well, she got it. If something horrible happens, she got it, right? And they don't expect you to cry and ask and weep for help anymore. So it's not a good place, not a good place. And we all do it at times. We all just kind of go on and march through it. And I got it, I got it, I got it. But it is fabulous to share. It is fabulous to care and share. It is fabulous to connect. It's fabulous to collaborate, especially with other women. That's what we do here on Win Win Women. It is such a blessing to me. I made so many wonderful, wonderful friends and loving women around me. Oh my, it's amazing. So if you feel that sometimes you just don't have the courage to express your feelings or you just don't know how, again, get help. It's all part of a communication skill kind of thing, right? Not just your mindset and thinking, oh, I don't want to talk about it. Sometimes you just have to. Sometimes you have to share. And the amazing thing is if you share, that people care. They do. If you share, you get answers that you never expected, or you get sympathy, empathy from people that have been through the same, or people that didn't go through the same, but they are sympathetic. They know what you feel, they get it. Everybody's way is different of grieving or having sorrow or pain or loss. And so if we are always strong, we can't do that. So that was a really, really big thing. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. And then another really good one, number four, guilty. I wish I would have stayed in touch with my friends. Now, how much do I love to have friends around? All these strong women and making new friends and connections. But sometimes I have to catch myself. Sometimes, honestly, I am not keeping up with the ones that are dear, that I love so much, the ones that maybe taught me so much, maybe they were my mentors. I had some amazing women around me that I really, really need to connect with. Bad. I am overdue. I am overdue to connect with them because I didn't give that phone call, I didn't check in, and it was all excuses. They're valid, don't get me wrong. They will say, oh, yeah, we know you're busy. You got your family, you got your life, you got your job, you're doing extra things, additional things on the side. We need our self-care, we need all that stuff. But then at the same time, it would have been very, very it's always beneficial to me to stay in touch with the women that meant so much to me, and it will still mean so much to me in the now. Or maybe it's just your family, and maybe it's your grandparents, or maybe it's it's the wise ones, right? The wise ones. Why am I not going back and listen to them and just hear some wonderful stories, some life advice? So if you are out of it for a little bit, you need to get it back. I need to get it back. I am overdue saying to a few people, I love you so, I'm thinking about you. I'm not forgetting you. You are amazing to me. You were my mentor. You were my wise gear. You were there. And so I appreciate you. Sometimes it's just what we need to do. There is an, a movement or years ago that taught me that if you are just setting some time aside every week, like let's say I'm gonna make 2 calls between 5 and 6 on Wednesday, and I'm gonna just put that down on my calendar. I'm going to make that hour available to catch up with people that I love so much, to catch up with people that are valuable to me, that I love, I need to express that, right? So sometimes that's a good idea to just kind of do it once a week. If that's not even possible, you do it once a month. Sometimes social media is great for that because you can just say, and you can just shoot a messenger like, I'm not forgetting about you. I love you. I love you. I love you. So that was number 4. I wish I would have stayed in touch with my friends. And I know that not everybody can be your friend, and we don't have to be friends with everybody. But the people that are really, really amazing and counting in your life, get back, look back, and make some time. It's always work. We have to do the work. I used to be really good at it because I was more like Mother Goose. I wanted to keep everybody together. So what I did was just, being bossy. But what I did was I did the work, right? I picked up the phone, sent the card, postcards. Oh, wow. That's not even a thing anymore. But anyway, we can go faster, right? So we can go on Facebook or on social media and say, here I am. I appreciate you. And number 5, the last one, I wish I would have let myself be happier. I wish I would have let myself be happier. It's huge to be at peace, to be in a happy place. Even more so to go even deeper, and that's what I talked about on ELIAN'S Joy, to go even deeper and find that spiritual place of peace. Even in hard times, to know that it will be okay, that there will be a lesson. The teacher is always quiet during the test. Err, no fair, but it is what it is. And if you know that, then slowly you will make that transformation to finding your true self and to come to that place of just happiness and joy, just an inner peace, not caring what other people think so much and not constantly trying to compare, but just in a good spot, happy with where you are in the moment, happy with yourself. So number 1 was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself. Number 2, I wish I would have worked so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Number 4, I wish I would have stayed in touch with my friends. Number 5, I wish I could let myself be happier. Start now, start today. Smell the roses, go outside, be happy in a great place and an attitude of gratitude just for yourself, just to be there and to just give it a big smile. Even if you feel it not inside, sometimes you just smile and say a silly word and it kind of makes you laugh and whoop, immediately mindset, right? So mindset today, no regrets. Less regrets. No regrets is a hard thing to do. Less regrets because we are more in control of where we want to be and the path we want to walk, the journey we want to take. I thank you so much for being here with me today. Today I have something different. You see in my title, in my name. My name is at the end. Dot this down. Write this down. I am yogawarrior.com 2022. Alien Han. That is the little contest I am in for a big article in Yoga Warrior that will go all the way through mid-May. But I'm kind of in the race. Go to my Facebook, go to my social media, click on it, and vote for me. That would be great. If you can even greater, vote for me every day. I would be so super grateful. Just a kind of a fun thing that I'm in, and anything else that I'm doing right now, or all that social media stuff, you can find that on www.alianhaan.com. Thank you for watching today. I hope to see you in 2 weeks and watch Ajanta next week. Thank you so much for being here.